None of this makes any sense. It's not a good film. Oh, God. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are reviewing Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. To call this a bad horror film would be an injustice to bad horror films. You've likely heard the term, it's so bad it's good. In this instance, it's just really bad. This isn't just bad, this is a desecration of the digital form. This is an abomination of human nature. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is what I refer to as a kind of smash and grab. So if you didn't know, production of the film became possible in 2022 after A.A. Milner's novel Winnie the Pooh entered the public domain in the US, which marked the first appearance of Winnie the Pooh, Piglet and Christopher Robin. That's why you're not going to see any other character. You're not going to see Tigger in this film. You're not going to see Eeyore. You do, briefly, but we'll get to that. Yeah, this was not good. This was not good. We're going to glove up, baby, and we're going to be puckering up because we're going to be deep diving into this one. What I would say, first of all, is that there are going to be spoilers. I am going to be spoiling this whole film for you. But I think I'm doing you a service. I watched this so you don't have to. Yeah, so the story starts, and this is the first red flag. It's an exposition dump. Now, what we have is an old guy voiceovering, which he's good at voiceover. Like, don't get me wrong here, he's a good voiceover guy. But you have this really shoddily put together illustration. Now, I'm not saying that my 6-year-old goddaughter could do better. And I know how hard it is for animation and illustration. And I don't know if this was a choice by the director, but the animation at the very beginning is very basic, shall we say. It's like chalk on a wall. Christopher Robin, following the story, goes to the 100-acre woods and sees Piglet and Eeyore and Winnie the Pooh and befriends them like, you know, the characters that you know from your innocent youth. And he's feeding them every day and whatnot, but then he grows older and he goes to college. He leaves them in the forest for them to fend for themselves. And already it kind of tells you that these are like hybrid mutants, that Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and Eeyore are hybrid mutant beings. They're half human, half, animal. And when Christopher Robin goes off to college because he's a human being and he needs to kind of just grow up, they can't fend for themselves. They can't forage for food and they're left to their own devices. And because they're apparently so stupid, they can't forage for food and become malnourished and essentially turn on Eeyore and they kill Eeyore. They kill Eeyore to feed. There's other characters in this animation exposition dump at the beginning, but you don't hear from them ever again. I suppose we think that they are just sacrificed like Eeyore was. And now Piglet and Winnie the Pooh have become these bloodthirsty, animalistic, feral creatures that just literally kill to survive. So that's the beginning. That's how we start the film. It's always a red flag when you have an exposition dump. It's not good. We then cut to Christopher Robin coming back with his fiancée in tow. He's now a doctor or something. She basically is saying to him, hey, we're coming back to see your imaginary friends. Because she doesn't believe him. She doesn't believe him that he encountered these animals that could talk and that he was childhood friends with. So he's bringing her back to say, hey, before we get married, you need to see my old pals, my old chums. We're going to go and we're going to have, merry dance around the kind of picnic basket or whatever sort of thing. And they get to the forest, and here's the second red flag. The production value of this is so low that instead of creating a sign for the 100 Acres Woods, they just get a piece of cardboard and they just kind of scrawl on that 100 Acre Woods and just plant it down. Yeah, so Christopher Robin and Mary go into the woods and they're seeing all these kind of like iconic sort of areas, like the old tree house, but now it's like there's skulls around. There's like all these kind of just basically get out of here, you're not welcome. Skulls, skeletons, all these other things. Mary turns around to Chris Robin, says, I don't think this is safe. And he's like, I don't know. We'll see. The laughability factor in this, and this is where I think they tried to go with the kind of like, we're going to make this so bad that it's good, is that every sentence that Chris Robin says starts with Pooh. So you're sitting there and you're kind of hearing, Pooh, what happened to you after all these years? And you can't just help but think you're just saying Pooh all the time. Like, you'd think that if this was someone that you just say WP or something like that, or just like have an acronym for the name. But every time you just hear Pooh, why are you doing this? Pooh, why are you doing it? You just think Pooh. You're just thinking Pooh. Shitty Pooh. They go into the lair of Piglet and Winnie the Pooh. And this is when we get to see the first kill. So straight off the bat, Christopher Robin's fiance is killed straight outright. Piglet, who looks more like Rocksteady and Bebop from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He looks more like a warthog than he does a pig now. So Piglet chokes out Mary, kills her, and that's a third red flag. The deaths in this film are very uninspired, very flat. You're going to feel cheated with the deaths in this. If you're going into this thinking, I'm watching a film of this kind of nature because I just want to see the deaths. Let's be honest, a lot of slasher films back in the day, you didn't really care about the storyline. You didn't really care about the characters. You just wanted to see the deaths. You just wanted to see the ludicrous death scenes. In Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, you're going to feel cheated because the deaths are very protracted. There's possibly one that's actually quite good, but we'll get into that. So that's the intro, and then cut to titles. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Okay, started off mildly okay. We then cut to our main protagonist, Alice. She's in a therapy session with a therapist. She's recounting a tale of this stalker type person that she's come across, and the therapist tells her to get away from it all. Hey, go up and go somewhere out in the wilderness and find yourself. That's pretty much it for the character development of Alice and all the other characters in this. The only one thing that you're going to see is that she's been stalked by someone. That's it. We then cut to a cabin that's presumably next to or nearby the 100 Acre Woods, and we meet our 5 protagonists. Do you know their names? You're not going to... It doesn't even matter because they don't even share one personality trait between them. These are 5 girls that are just coming to greet their friend. They're all English. Beforehand, we stop off at some garage. Very kind of... we're going to stop off here. Maybe get some supplies and stuff like that before we get to the Airbnb cabin that we're staying at. And this one American guy's in the garage. He's like, what do you want here? What are you doing? And Alice is like, well, I just came in to see what's going on. She turns around and bumps into someone, and this person will come back later, I think. But the whole scene is just very weird. And this is the 4th red flag. This film has no kinetic energy. And what I mean by kinetic energy is the fact that all the shots are very kind of just static, camera here. This person's talking, camera here. Very amateurish in its design. It's almost like this film was created by someone who's just come out of film school. So reportedly, this film was made on $100,000. And that is a small pebble in the ocean compared to the millions, trillions, Avatar 2 style billions that are made into making a film. And this is the reason why this film's already got a sequel. And the director, Rice Frake Waterfield, I have to commend you, sir. I have to commend you. You've got the cojones to go out there, get the IP from a beloved franchise that people remember from their youth. Turn the main characters into bloodthirsty, marauding kind of animals, And now there's a sequel. There's already been a sequel made. And why is that? Because from that $100,000, this has already made millions. And that is business, people. That is how you do business. That's how you hustle. Has slapped together this film for a minuscule budget, knowing full well that people are going to go watching this. And now there's even there's a Bambi: The Reckoning, and Peter Pan film that he's going to desecrate and tear it asunder. And will I watch them? Probably, because, you know, why not? But getting back to the story. So, yeah, these 5 girls turn up at this cabin. They're there to support their friend, but they don't have a personality trait between them. There's literally one Instagram person. She's really obsessed with Instagram and how she's seen online. There's a main person, Alice, who has a stalker. There's a girl with glasses who we perceive to be the nerdy one, although she doesn't really offer anything that's intelligent. There's these 2 lesbian couple that offer nothing. Yeah, it's just my brain is buffering just recounting this. And they have this thing where it's like the girl with the glasses is like, hey, we're here to have a fun time, so no phones. Which is that old trope of, like, you know, you go to a cabin in the woods or you go somewhere out of reach, you won't have any phone signal, so you won't be able to call the cops, or you won't be able to call... It's one of those kind of... It's really bad writing when you basically say, hey girls, we're on this fun trip, we're not going to be on our phones, we're going to be like glued to the screen, put it in a bag. Okay, I can get behind that. But then having a scene afterwards with the girl with a phone just makes you think, so what happened? Did I momentarily doze off? So they all go into this cabin in the woods by the 100-acre woods. And yeah, we then cut to... It's so bad. It's so bad. Ooh. We cut to a girl who's presumably one of the friends who just hasn't turned up in time, and she's trying to catch up with them. And she stops off at this, like, warehouse, and she gets out and she's on the phone and she's like, where are you guys at, sort of thing. And they're like, well, we're nearby. She sees Pooh in the woods, and now Pooh has turned into this kind of like T-1000, like running after her, like really choppy chase scene. She goes into this kind of wood chipper, and you can see what's going to happen, but she's there sitting down, like she's trying to tension, right? She's sitting there waiting for Pooh to like walk away. She doesn't. But what happens is the most bizarre thing. So Pooh gets her, and literally, like Joey from Friends with the bra, like he just literally grabs her shirt, and the shirt comes off and she's topless. Her titties are flying all over the place. And I thought to myself, oh, okay, so this is going to be one of those films where you're going to see a lot of boobs, really. Like, you're going to see a lot of boobs, and this is going to be like a kind of tip of the hat to like the 80s. That's the only boobs you see in the film. It's like they come off for like 20 seconds, she's like shaking away, and he puts her in a wood chipper, and that's it. That character is, as far as I can tell, was never referred to again. We never find out, I think, who she is. I think there's one throwaway comment of like, oh, where's Lucy, or whatever her name is. But that's it. That was just a gratuitous shot of boobs. That's it. That's all the boobs you're getting. What? This is ridiculous. So we cut back to the girls, and they're having a kind of little meeting group in front of the fire, and I think this is where the film is meant to convey its kind of serious intent and character development. So Alice is sitting by the fireplace, and she's telling all her friends the reason why they're at the cabin. Essentially, there's a guy who's been stalking her. Now, originally, when we first saw her talking to her therapist, it was my initial thought was, okay, there's an ex-boyfriend that's after her or something. No, it's just some random guy, some old guy that is just following her, that's just creeping her out sort of thing. And she's telling, and it's all done in flashbacks as well. So she's got sleeping by the bed and this door opens and this old guy just comes in and starts undressing her, starts peeling her kind of top down. And she wakes up and sees him and freaks out. And that's, I guess, meant to be like a prelude to her saying like, oh, I've got this creepy guy after me. When Piglet and Pooh then start stalking them, it's meant to be some kind of, okay, this guy, maybe this is a guy dressed up in a mask or something. I don't know. We cut back to the girls in the woods. Oh no, sorry, Christopher Robin. We have a scene with Christopher Robin. So, when his fiance, was killed, he's standing there in this scene and like you've got Piglet and you've got Pooh. And this is once again where I'm talking about kinetic energy. At the very start, they're kind of closing up. They're in this kind of like weird, I think this is meant to be the entrance to the 100 Acre Woods or to Piglet and Pooh's den of inequity. They're like these like trees, these tree stumps that are kind of like steepled over, and Christopher Robin's in the middle, and you have Piglet and you have Pooh really slowly coming towards him. And most of Christopher Robin's dialogue in this film is, "Why, Pooh? We were friends, Pooh. Why are you doing this?" And he literally says this for for a couple of minutes. He's standing in the middle while they're slowly coming in on him. And it kind of just fades to black. But Christopher Robin has been kidnapped. Now, if Pooh and Piglet are just literally going out, killing people for food, for sustenance, I get that. Now it's become a kind of revenge. You abandoned me when I was young, so now I'm going to torture you. There's a scene where I think they get Eeyore's tail, and Winnie the Pooh is just like whipping him on his back. And in all fairness, the effects of that, the back sort of whipping, pretty good. But he has this moment where Pooh goes to the mirror and looks at himself, and then it has a flashback of when Christopher Robin was young and offering him a tomato when he's on when they're young, and he goes, no, he just throws everything around. So I think there was meant to be some sort of plot where Pooh is fighting his bloodlust to become the Pooh that he used to be, but that's the only scene where you see it. We then cut back to the girls. The Instagram girl is in a hot tub now. She's got a phone, so whether this whole no phone policy actually happened, she's got her phone back. She's taking snaps of herself by the hot tub. And she's taking so many that she's going through and going, nah, I don't like that one. Don't like that one. That's nasty. And she sees one where she sees Pooh in the background. So she sees this abomination in the background and she kind of turns around. And we know the story of Alice where she's told her friends, and this is probably the only character arc moment where she's sitting down by the fire and she's telling all her friends about this stalker. So Instagram girl knows that maybe someone's after her. She turns around, she's like, "The fuck are you? Where are you, man?" She gets out. And then, fifth red flag, she, by all common sense, just goes, "You're not going to spoil my holiday." And then gets back in the hot tub. And then goes, like, leans back, like, not a care in the world, closes her eyes, and of course Piglet and Pooh come and kill her. Now, logic would state that if you knew that your friend is going for a getaway retreat because she's been stalked by someone, and you've just captured them on your phone whilst you're in a hot tub, there's going to be some vulnerability there. There's going to be some, like, I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going to tell my friends because I think this is a stalker dude. No, she just goes, you're not going to ruin my holiday. And then she just goes to her back to where she just saw the person. It defies logic. Any kind of logic. I mean, even in these type of films where it's like, let's not split up. Let's stay together. Or they do split up, sort of. Sorry. It's that kind of thing of it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The other two characters, the lesbian couple, have this... once again, I think there was some LBGTQ plus tick box thing going on here, because you have these two girls who are the friends, who are in a lesbian relationship. They come up to the room when they first get to the cabin, and one of them has laid out these petals on the bed in a kind of heart shape and is going, I just wanted you to have a really good time. And her friend, who I thought was Alice, because they have these two actors. They have these two actors who are very similar looking. And once again, maybe my brain buffered for a moment, because I thought this was the main protagonist. And I was like, oh, okay, so she's been stalked by this guy. She's now gone to this girl. No, it's a completely different actress. I just didn't realize it. But the actress goes, oh, I'm not ready for this. Okay? You think, okay, somewhere along the line, this is going to become something? No, that's it. There's one scene later on when the girls are found out that Pooh and Piglet are after them, that she turns around to him and goes, oh, I love you. And she's like, yeah, I know. It's meant to be some Empire Strikes Back moment where Han turns to Leia and goes, I love you, and he goes, yeah, I know. I think this was just to be some kind of tick boxing thing. I don't know if this film got a grant, but one of the requests or prerequisitions was to kind of say, hey, you need to have a kind of same-sex couple in this film. And they were like, okay, we're just going to write a line of dialogue where this woman takes this other woman into a room and says, hey, I'm ready for the lovemaking now. And the other one's like, nah, get out of here. So they don't just kill the girl in the hot tub, the Instagram girl. They chloroform her and they take her out to the porch of the cabin. Piglet, with his rock steady bebop shoes, pins her down. She's hogtied. So whereas Pooh and Piglet couldn't forage for food when Christopher Robin left them, they can hogtie someone pretty well. And then we get a shot of Pooh in a car. When did he learn to drive? I don't know. And he slowly brings the car to her head and then just basically pops her head. You see this kind of bit where her eyeball's out. I guess this is meant to be a good death scene. It's just, once again, while I was talking about kinetic energy, it's just really protracted, really long. All the sequences are just really long, too long. The cuts should have been made a lot smoother. Once again, it just smells of this slapdash, put this thing together, sellotape it up, put it out, see what we get back sort of thing. So now the girls are finding out, Instagram girl's dead, they find her, and they run into the house. And this is probably the one moment where Glasses Girl gets the shine. I think this is meant to be their Troll 2 moment of oh, he's eating her, and then she's going to eat me, no! Pooh or Piglet has written in blood, get out, on the windows. And the girl with glasses, serious, is turning to her friend saying, whoever wrote that is going to be coming after us. And it's yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah. And this is, I think, one of my main bugbears of the film. If this was if this was made tongue-in-cheek, I think this would have been a hell of a lot better. This is they're trying to go for the serious tone. If they were self-aware, because the Piglet and Pooh, the masks, it's just two guys in masks. They're not even... The effects are really bad. We'll get to that in a second. Let's get through the storyline first. Then we'll get on to the character developments, the costumes, the piss-poor costumes. We'll get to that. So the girls turn around and go, we got to stick together, right? We've got to find a weapon. We stick together. And at that point, I was thinking, oh, okay, it's at least something that you don't get from these type of films. Instantly, they split up. Alice goes, I've got a gun. Where did this gun come from? And that led me to think, are we in the UK? All the actors and actresses in this are from the UK. There's only one guy, and that's the guy from the garage who's American that I could tell. So I was thinking, we're in the UK. The 100 Acres Forest, A.A. Milner's books, they're all based in the UK. Where does she get a gun from? So then that made me think, oh, so they're in America. I know this is like a little tidbit thing that isn't really meant to be important, but at the same time, it kind of... I mean, I was already out of this film. I'd already been disconnected. My my tethered line had been severed a lot earlier from this, but this was just one of those kind of points of defying logic. It was, so if they're in the UK, how does she have a gun? Gun laws are a lot different here than they are in America. You know, unless you're on a farm or something like that. And it's not just like it's not like a Walther PPK or like a Glock or something. This is like some fucking 6-shooter revolver with mods on. This is some Resident Evil modified A+ game pistol. Like it's a fucking Magnum looking thing, and oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. Oh God. Oh, editing this is going to be... It's not going to be good. So yeah, we're following the girls in the cabin now. And so these two same-sex couple ones come down to the pool area. Piglet kind of just twats one. She's unconscious on the floor. This other one falls into the pool. And now Piglet is there with a chain. And he's like slapping the pool. He's like, "Put down, I'm going to get you." And she's just in the pool, waiting, going, stay away from her. And this goes on once again. This is one of those other scenes where I was talking about with Piglet and Winnie coming over to Christopher Robin. It just taking an eon to kind of like watch. It's the same thing. He's like slapping this chain in the water, and he's obviously finding that he's not getting her. So then he goes, fuck this noise. I'll get a sledgehammer. Comes into the pool and is like slowly wading towards her. This girl could have got out of the pool. She's just bopping there like a cork. And she's like, "Oh no, don't come near me." And then she finally, when he gets the sledgehammer and he's like wading towards her, that's when she finally decides, "Oh, I'm going to get out of here." No, she gets to the end of the pool and Piglet just dashes her with the sledgehammer and she's dead. The other girls now come out and find her dead body floating on the pool. They run away. The one who was unconscious is taken away by Piglet. So the other girls go into their den. And it looks like Pooh and Piglet have been having good times while Christopher Robin was away, because they've got trailers. They've got like a little kind of patio place where there's a fire pit. They've got the tree house. They've been doing good, you know, with the meat hooks and everything like that in their den of inequity. But so the girls now are on a rescue mission to find their friend. They come across and they hear this wailing. So they find Christopher Robin, and he's like going, "No, Pooh, no." He's like, "Release me." There's once again an inordinate amount of time where they get him off his chain. He falls down to the ground. He's spluttering up blood and everything, but he's saying to them like, "You got to go. You guys got to go." And once again, there's another moment where this very Amdram looking, like it felt like to me that this was the first shot that they did, because he falls down on all fours and he's like, "You guys got to get out of here. You got to get out." And they have a moment where they all look at each other and just go, and then they get up and run. It's the most disjointed. They should have had a few more takes on this one, because there seems to be like this tension, but there's no tension. It just feels very Amdram-esque. Anywho, they hear another woman screaming, and it's not her friend. And they find this random woman. Winnie the Pooh is like slurping up his honey. And the honey looks just like KY jelly, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was just KY jelly. He's there, yumming it all up, gobbling it down, the good honey. And the friend who was unconscious by the pool now wakes up. She starts making noises. So Winnie the Pooh comes over and brings his Winnie pimp hand down and just starts smacking her. This was the only... once again, it's not meant to be funny. I found this funny. Winnie the Pooh pimp smacking someone with the backhand of his yellow... It was hilarious. So she's unconscious. Now the girls come in. They find this other woman screaming. So they go to her. And at this point, it's just this random person who's obviously been chained up. Christopher Robin said to them, like, "Oh, they brought someone else here this morning." And this woman's been beaten around, like, she's got, like, big bruises. She's got, like, you know, Rocky Balboa style, like, bruises all over her face. They release her, and when she finds her image in the reflection of a mirror, she just goes fucking apeshit. She's like, my face! What did they do to me? I know! She grabs the gun off the Alice and goes, right, he's gonna pay. And she goes into like fucking, she goes crazy. She's like, Piglet, where are you? I'm gonna find you, Piglet. All this time I'm sitting there going, who is this woman? And it dawned on me then, like, was she the woman from the garage very early on that Alice bumped into? We had no character interaction with her. We didn't find out anything about her character. She's just some random person in the garage that's turned up. Why? We don't know. She's been kidnapped. She's been released now. Piglet comes out and he does this kind of like, you know, with his chain. And the woman fired the gun to get his attention. Then he comes and does the thing, and then she pulls the gun, but there's only one bullet. So Alice brought a gun to her retreat with her girlfriends with only one bullet, which makes me think that she was there to do something perhaps untoward to herself. Anywho, Piglet kills her, kills the random woman that's just appeared. And whilst all this is happening, the three girls that are remaining are now like just hiding behind this keg, like just watching this unfold. They're not doing anything. They're just hiding away. Piglet gets apprehended by one of the girls. She kind of puts a sledgehammer down on Piglet's dead. He's gone. He's out of it now. Winnie the Pooh's been chasing the other girls in the forest. He has some kind of psionic link to Piglet, I guess, because like when Piglet dies, he just turns and he's like, my friend is dead. He runs back, gets the girl, puts like a machete through her throat with the worst CGI blood that I've ever seen in any film. This was just like clapped on. It's coming out of her mouth, but you can see it's not even touching her chin. It's just like it's flowing down, but it's not even making a stain or anything like that. We have two girls left. The girl of the glasses and Alice, the main protagonist. They get in the car. They drive off, and they bump into the garage guy, the American garage guy, and now he's with his friends. What they're doing out here, who knows? And this is where, once again, I got confused where we were. Are we in England or are we in America? Because they're all dressed up in these kind of like dungarees and cowboy hats and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, two of the guys are English. One of the guys is American. They're all dressed up, though, like they're in this kind of Hickville, town. Where are we? Where are we? That was the one niggling thing at the back of my mind. I was like, where are we? If I knew, could pinpoint where we were, then I'd have at least some kind of information here. The girls get out and they're like, this guy's chasing us. No. And he's like, Pooh's just standing there. And the guy who looks like Bob from Twin Peaks comes up and goes like, you've been messing with the girls? Huh? What are you doing? It's like, would you not think there's a guy that's either dressed up, like he's meant to be a humanoid hybrid monster bear human thing, but it is so clear that it's just a guy with a fucking mask on his face that you would think, okay, maybe this guy's trying to have his kicks with the girls. They come up and once again, another very protracted scene where it takes like 5 minutes just for them to go like, hey, you, I'm gonna open a can of whoop ass on you. And they start beating down on Pooh, like with these crowbars and whatnot sort of thing. But Pooh takes it because he's a beast. He's a titan. He's a warrior. He comes back up in this kind of like Jason Voorhees style. And then once again, the pimp hand comes back. The Winnie the Pooh pimp hand. He just smacks this guy, the American guy with the dungarees, the Bob from Twin Peaks, and just literally slashes half his face off. This guy goes, no! He runs back to the car with the girls, and like you see half his face just like clean torn off. And the other guys then are lamb for slaughter. Like Pooh just like karate chops one other guy, curb stomps another guy, and then Pooh can apparently control bees. He's become like this mystical force. He's become one with nature. I don't know. He like just lets this other guy get killed by bees. Where did this mystical power come from? Who knows? Yeah, so the girls then drive away, but Pooh gets on the back of the pickup. He's there. The pimp ham doesn't come back, though, because he's slamming down on the windshield, but it doesn't seem to be doing any relevance to the windshield. Yeah, they break. Pooh rolls off the front. He grabs the girl with the glasses, walks away, and then we we see this moment where the main protagonist, Alice, is sitting there going, "No!" And then Pooh just holds up her head. When did he kill her? Don't know. When did he just karate chopped her neck off? Don't know. He throws the head of the girl. He throws the head of the girl with the glasses on the windshield. She just starts doing the blinds, because the windshield wipers, because that's what you do, right? When you have blood smeared all over your windscreen, you just kind of start wiping the blades. And you may be thinking, where's Christopher Robin been in all this? Like, they released him ages ago. What's he been doing? Has he gone to get help? Is he, just doing a Tommy Two shuffle on the steps? I don't know what he's doing. That's when he comes back. It's the Deus Ex Machina now, where Christopher Robin comes flying in with another car and pins Winnie the Pooh between the two cars like Mel Gibson's wife in Signs. And gets out, he brings Alice out, and you're thinking, okay, 2 survivors now. It's all going to be good. No. Pooh just shrugs off that car like it was nothing. Comes back and grabs Alice by the throat, and then Christopher Robin goes back to his default mode of, why, Pooh? Why are you doing this? You want me, not her. Why are you doing this? And Pooh utters the one line in this was like, you left us, and then he just slits Alice's throat, throws her down. Alice dies. And Christopher Robin runs off, and that's the end of the film. That's how it ends. Yeah. If you're going to make a film that has like an all-female cast, you know, the first point of reference, you'd be looking at Neil Marshall's The Descent. In that film, you have a group dealing with trauma, very same signs. I wouldn't be surprised if Rice, the director of this, watched The Descent and was like, okay, we're going to get 5 girls. We're going to bring them up to a cabin because, one of them's dealing with some type of trauma. And then we're going to just unleash hell. Whereas The Descent, though, had actually character development where you found out that actually the main protagonist's, husband and son were killed in a tragic car accident. But the husband was having an affair with one of her best friends. It creates tension, it creates subtext, it creates reasons for people being there. This one just has people running around, shouting things that are very obvious. So that's the main storyline. Let's get into a bit more of the characters themselves. So this is terrible because they're just masks, and they're like masks that you'd find in some crappy Halloween shop down the road. This isn't even like some mask that you'd spend some money on to kind of feel this is like something that's just been bought off the internet from a Chinese sweatshop. The Pooh mask is, you can tell the actors are stumbling around, and like I think you can even see sometimes the actual mask come up from the kind of the neck area. They're not good. At least put some time in, like, to create some hair on them or something. They're so shiny and plastic that it's just a guy in a mask. You can't help but see it's just a guy in a mask. Yeah, not good. As I said, the girls themselves are all just like, they're just like meat puppets. But the deaths, people that are going to see this film want to see it for the deaths, and they want to see some ludicrous, over-the-top deaths. You've seen films from like 40 years ago that did deaths better than this one. A lot of the direction in this has people, you don't even see them being killed. You just see half the body flailing, some poor CGI blood. You have the girl in the hot tub who has her head exploded. Like, you don't really see the head explode. You see the aftermath of the explosion. So you see the car going over and you see like the bump. And then you just see the after of like her eyeball popping out and everything like that. Christopher Robin's wife is just strangled. The sledgehammer, like once again, Piglet is in the frame. So like you just see the sledgehammer go across. So you just see once again CGI blood flowing through and slow motion of her going in the pool. The girl with the glasses, I didn't see it. You just see her head being lofted up and like tossed onto the windscreen. Yeah, so people that are going to be getting stoned and like bringing their bros out to kind of see this are going to be very disappointed because the deaths in this aren't very good at all. What else? Yeah, as I said like before, with the one girl, the poor actress who was just basically in there to get her top off, it just smacks of exploitation. And I'm not one of these kind of fucking prudes that is like, I like some horror films where you see the boobies and you see the kind of deaths. That's what a lot of people will be going for this for. But when you just have one scene where one actress is just getting her top off and that's it, and she gets killed off unceremoniously in a wood chipper, like, where are you going? Where are you going with this? So I thought there was going to be something where Pooh was going to turn out to be like some massive pervert or something, and he's like stalking these girls because he just wants to see their boobs. No, it's nothing to do with it at all. And that's the other thing as well. It's like if Pooh's out here, Pooh and Piglet are just out here to kind of feast. Why are they kidnapping people? Why are they bringing people back to their lair? Have they feasted enough so that they're satiated and they're just waiting for their next kind of 30 days of feasting? Makes no sense. None of this makes any sense. It's not a good film. Oh, God. For the kind of pros of this kind of film, I do hope that the sequel, and there is a sequel being made, believe it or not, there is a sequel being made. I hope that although this had a minuscule budget, and for what they've done, they could have come up with some more creative ways of people dying, character development, etc., etc. For the sequel, at least, now they've got millions. That for a budget of £100,000 to have the kind of take back the box office success of this being like 3.2 million, I would hope that the sequel at least ramps it up a notch. Better deaths. Like, what I would have preferred was to have like focus on Christopher Robin than this random group of girls that you're not going to really care about or remember after the credits have rolled. So if your childhood innocence wasn't torn asunder already, we're going to have Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, also Peter Pan and Bambi the Reckoning. How are they going to do Bambi the Reckoning? My mind is just imploding with the fact of Bambi being made into a horror movie. The only thing I can think of is you can have some kind of creature that sort of resembles a kind of deer stalking people that killed her mother, I guess. Peter Pan, like the nightmarish Peter Pan, that does have a lot of credence to it. We've just had the kind of trailer hit for Peter and Wendy. So I guess that is in the market sphere at the moment. Yeah. The score was also very weird, I felt. I felt like the score didn't befit what was happening. You have this orchestra like Sephiroth moment when things are happening, but then also the music builds up to a crescendo at points where it doesn't need to build up to. It's very weird, didn't really fit. The direction, as I said, like the kinetic energy was very poor. There are moments where just scenes took too long. Once again, going back to the moment where you have Piglet and Winnie the Pooh coming to Christopher Robin, he's just repeating the same lines over and over again. There are a lot of scenes in this film where things are happening, but they're just taking too long to happen. Whereas a quick edit would sort that out straight away. I'm hoping with the sequel that they kind of, this was just like a test run, I guess. As I said before, I don't know how many kind of brown envelopes have gone onto the table for this to actually become a real thing. And also part of me is thinking that like no one goes out to make a bad film. Like I'm sure all the intents and purposes were here to make a good film. If they didn't play it straight, if they played it with a tongue-in-cheek sort of attitude, then I could get behind it. I mean, the whole point of it is that you're having these kind of hybrid bear and piglet animals in these like ridiculous masks. There should have been a point where someone turned around and said, like, look, we can't be doing this seriously. This isn't going to make any sense. We have to do this. Like fourth wall breaking. Let's make it meta. Let's do something with this to make it like elevate it apart from these normal bargain basement sort of transmorpher style films. Maybe I've just watched a lot of good films recently, and I love indie films. I love indie horror films, and I wanna I wanna support them. But when you have something as bad as this, it just makes it really hard to do that, especially when the budget was so low and the return has been so huge that there's now been a sequel and it is going to be made. You just kind of think to yourself, well, I hope you just don't follow in the same footsteps. The deaths have to be better. The acting has to be a lot better. Like, once again, as I was saying at the very beginning of this video, if you elevate something from schlonkiness to kind of cult status following, is that you're going to have these over-the-top performances. You're going to have these iconic lines that people will be verbatim repeating to their friends. This has none of that. It's been played serious, and it's not been played for laughs. It's been played in all utter seriousness. I watched this so you don't have to, but if you are interested, then Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is coming out on the 10th of March. When you do watch it, if you watch it, let me know what you thought in the comments below. Did I miss anything out? Is there anything that you saw that I didn't? Yeah, I mean, I don't think I did. Anyway, guys, that's all from me. I hope to see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.